Okay, so I people ask me how do you go about finding yourself, your self-worth, loving yourself, and embracing who you are, even at the core level of who you are. And that's such a good question because that was the hardest thing for me on my journey is I didn't know where to begin. I didn't know how do you find yourself? How do you love yourself? There's different ways people say that you can love yourself, and I'm sure that there is truth to it, but I truly believe that there is only one real way, and that's absolutely loving yourself to the core. And that's very deep, but I didn't when I was on my journey, I didn't have teachers. I didn't watch videos. I didn't have any steps, or I didn't even know where to begin. So it took me a long time, but now people are coming into their power. People are growing. People are finding their who they are, and they're helping others. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to encourage people to do the work, to heal themselves, to love themselves, because guess what? People need them, so that their journey won't be as long. It doesn't have to be a long process. Mine was, because like I said, I was doing it by myself, um, and I did struggle a lot. But back to the question, that people were asking me, they were like, how do you do it? And that answer didn't come as easy to me, but when I found it, it was the rest became easier. So what I did was I went back to my childlike self. That's the answer, guys. Your childlike self. In your childlike self rests self love, who you are, how you should be. And it's so crazy because haven't you noticed what you were doing as a child? You didn't care. You just had trust. You were free. You believed. You dreamt, and you were fearless. And so what I did was I went back and I revisited my childlike self. Like, what did I like to do? I remember I always liked to sing, and write poems. And so when I did that, at first it was weird. I was like, but get past. It's gonna be uncomfortable because you're like, oh, I'm an adult. Why am I trying to be like a child? No, it's you're just trying to get past that uncomfortable feeling. But listen, this world, people, parents, society, they took our childlike faith from us. They're like, grow up. You got to go to school. You got to get a job. Okay, and that's okay. But we lost the sense of who we are. We lost connection of who we truly are, and that rests and lies in our self-like person. Be playful. Be playful. Don't take life too serious. Do things. If you have trouble revisiting your childlike self, just watch a child. Just look at a child. If you have a niece, nephew, children, small children, look at them. Just monitor them. Just watch them and see what they do. I've watched my children and I just see, they like, it's storming outside sometimes and it's raining, and what do? They want to go play in the rain. Mom, can we play in the rain? Why don't you try doing that? Why don't you try just doing things that an adult wouldn't do? Because once you become that childlike self again, even if you get a glimpse of your childlike self, you're on the right path. You're on the right track. The rest will become natural. Um, I remember when I wouldn't like the way, I dressed because I felt like I was going to be judged or whatever. But once I started to revisit my childlike self, and I was like, okay, what do I want to wear today? What am I in the mood to wear today? And, you know, I put something on, and I, of course, I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to wear this, and I'm going to walk out, and I'm going to go to the store. Well, of course, a couple of minutes later, I was like, no, I'm not wearing this. But then, you know what, I forced myself out into it. And I allowed, you know, myself to feel the judgments that I was giving myself. You know, people judge us because we first judge ourselves. You know, and once I stopped judging and just be, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to wear this. And I'm going to turn off those judgments that are in my mind and telling me, you know, that, oh, people are going to think you're crazy for wearing that. Once, you know, they're all thoughts. You know, just turn off those negative thoughts. Once I got past that uncomfortable judgment and all that stuff, things got easier. You know what I mean? It's so much more freer. It's more freeing when you go back to your childlike self, because kids don't care what you think of them. Haven't you noticed? They drop a candy on the floor and they will eat it in front of you off the floor. You know, they don't care what others are thinking, or if somebody saw that. And that's what we need to do. Okay, people, we need to go back to our childlike self. We need to find our childlike self. We need to heal. Sometimes our childlike self is broken, you know, is hurt. So when you find your childlike self, you need to love it, you need to forgive it, and you need to connect with it, because that is the key to who you are, to what you like, to that inner beauty. Okay, you know, it even says in the Bible about childlike self, you know, in Matthew 18:3. Just read it. It talks about, you know, being childlike. Those will be the ones, you know, that will see the kingdom, is the ones that convert back into a childlike. And he's talking about Jesus is talking about childlike self, childlike faith. Why? Because in your childlike self rests power. Have you ever seen a child that believes? They believe, and I'm telling you, they do not. They will not care if you have proof. They will believe, and that's what we need to do. We need to find our childlike self again. And when you do, you need to rise up, and you need to bring other people with you. You need to help pick up the other people who are lost, who don't know where to begin, because this self-love journey does not have to be years. It doesn't even have to be long. The only reason people are having trouble on this journey, and the reason they're having, you know, issues, even where to begin, is because they don't know themselves how to do it. And we need teachers, we need other people who have already accomplished that and who are already working on themselves and doing the work to help bring them back, to help bring them to the childlike self. Okay, so please share your stories, share your truth, help others. Help others, because people need truth. They need to find themselves. They do. And only we can help others.